screen for go. They're racing.
He says go.
He says ta-da.
And Tiger Tara roars away from them on the home turn.
Here comes another big boil over.
Equine athleticism at its best. The king is in the castle once more.
This is in one race. The rest are almost in another postcode.
She is a star with a capital S.
It's going to be a triple treat, a miracle three-peat. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed history here at Menangle. What about that?
It's getting right up on the sprint lane and it's going to bolt in.
Hello and welcome to episode 97 of the Sprint Lane podcast. This is the Sunday session. My name is Greg Hayes and it's great to have your company. Another good meeting at Club Menangle on Saturday night, highlighted by the New South Wales Bred 2 and 3-year-old finals. And of course, the Queensland Carnival rolled on with the running of the Rising Sun and a number of other feature races across the program of racing. I'll concentrate on Queensland first. Congratulations to the connections of Whisperer Secret after he won the Rising Sun for Chantel Turpin and Pete McMullen. We have seen the horse at Menangle previously. It's been a bit of a quiet carnival for the locals outside of Leap to Fame so far, but that quickly changed. New South Wales had plenty of representatives in it. Don Hugo for Luke McCarthy was second, narrowly beaten. Captain's Knock finished fourth for Brad Hewitt, blazing home fifth for Jared Alchin. Second of the McCarthy runners at Rock and Roll Hammer was ninth. Soho Spectre 10th for Rickie Alchin. Frankie Ferocious for Jason Grimson 11th. And Lux Aeterna failed to finish after an atrial fibrillation. My initial take out of the race was these feature races being run now with 3- and 4-year-olds competing against one another is starting to show a pattern. The 3-year-olds are just not ready to compete against the more mature 4-year-olds at that very top level. We saw it last year in the Eureka, with the 2 3-year-olds finishing down the order. The Lost Storm was 7th, Captain Hammerhead was 9th. In the Rising Sun last year, the youngsters had a bit more success, with Rock and Roll Hammer running second, Don Hugo ran 5th. But I wonder whether connections with a nice 3-year-old will start to consider bypassing these feature races and come back as a 4-year-old and have a more serious crack. Yes, they're getting a barrier draw advantage, but it's a huge physical ask for the 3-year-olds taking on the more seasoned campaigners. We used to see the 4- and 5-year-old race that was run at Menangle, the Ben-Hur. But whether these 3-year-olds can compete with the 4-year-olds, it's changing the season maybe has helped, but I'm just not sure. I'm not convinced yet. In regards to the Eureka, obvious concerns with the fave this far out. Frankie Ferocious was run over last week and then this week was driven cold and finished down the track. Cam Hart opted to stay in when the 3-wide train got going, but it will be interesting in coming days to see if there's any issues with the Grimson runner. Actually wouldn't be surprised to see a new favourite in the race. After Never Ending produced a sparkling return to the track at Gloucester Park on Friday night. He was driven ice cold in the race by trainer Justin Prentice and came with a late charge out very wide on the track. Interesting, he got a little bit rough on that final turn, but still managed to knuckle down in the short straight and reel in his rivals. For mine, he is quite clearly the horse to beat at this stage, as some of the big guns start to fall by the wayside. Regular driver Gary Hall Jr. is out suspended at the moment. He'll be back soon enough, and I'm looking forward to seeing Justin Prentice bringing Never Ending across the country later in the year. We did see a 3-year-old take out the Rising Sun Consolation. In saying all that, Millwood Bliss used her gate speed to advantage for Brad Hewitt as she led home a New South Wales trifecta, with I Keep Smiling for McCarthy and Van Basten for Rickie Alchin filling the placings. London to a Brick was second in the Great Square for James Rattray. In the Mr. Feelgood, Swayze was beaten into second by Leap to Fame after Swayze had to be driven hard early to punch through and hold up. Leap to Fame was way too good for him on Saturday night, but I don't think all is lost with Swayze just yet. Simply Sam was great in running third for Kerry Ann and Robbie Morris, with Hector finishing fourth for Grimson and Jack Brown, so big New South Wales flavour in that race. Artie's Express was too good in the Fleur de Lille, with stablemates Tay and I'll Have a Bubbles finishing third and fourth respectively. New South Wales won another feature when Hunger Strike won the APG Brisbane Sales Graduate race, trained and driven by Rickie Alchin. The filly couldn't have been any more impressive after a few little scares when she was crossed out of the gate from barrier 1. On another subject, huge announcement during the week from Harness Racing New South Wales that there will be a $1 million bonus up for grabs surrounding the Carnival of Cups. To win the money, a horse must win all 5 legs of the Carnival of Cups. There will be a $500,000 bonus for any horse that can win 4 legs. And a horse that wins 3 legs will get $250,000. You'd have to think a bonus that big is going to attract some of the best horses in the country. The series kicks off at Parks on September 20, then off to Young on November 8. We then go to Tamworth on January 17. Albury host their meeting on February 14 and it wraps up at Penrith on March the 14th. So these races are well spaced for trainers. Some of the tracks are tight, obviously, so the horses will need to handle the tight tracks, but I think it's a great incentive on the racetrack, especially with the announcement of some of the off-track entertainment we discussed on the podcast last week with Paul Cochrane from Harness Racing New South Wales. So thumbs up to that $1 million bonus that is on offer for the Carnival of Cups this time around. Turning my attention to the Menangle meeting, Peter Rickson dominated the 2- and 3-year-old finals. I messaged Peter on Saturday night after the double, and he's out of action at the moment after undergoing shoulder surgery during the week. And he suggested I catch up with son Will because he is the one who's been doing all the work. Also, a special mention to trainer Kristie O'Sullivan after the win of Kaitoa in the Waratah Final. Kristie has been around the sport for her entire life. She's the daughter of John O'Sullivan. John's the president of the Canberra Harness Racing Club. He's been one of the leading trainers in the area for a number of years. Well, Kristie broke through for her first Saturday night Menangle winner when Kaitoa scored with brother-in-law Dean Sinofskis doing the driving. So well done to all involved there. Who's on the podcast today? Well, after Hunger Strike proved too strong in the APG final at Albion Park for Rickie Alchin, I thought I'd catch up with him to have a chat about the win and also need to talk to him about Lux Aeterna after her atrial fibrillation and whether she's okay. Thought it would be nice to speak with Kristie O'Sullivan after the win of Kaitoa. Plus, I'll have the Menangle Express where I look at every race and nominate my win, drive and unlucky runner of the night. And Mr. T will be back with a couple of tips. First up, I'm going to catch up with Rickie Alchin.
29 seconds, third quarter. Designer Jewel, Hunger Strike, they're together at the top of the lane. May wins Mighty Mac, eases off their backs and he's about to go into attack mode. 3 wide, is there an upset looming here? They're into the home straight. Hunger Strike has the lead. May wins Mighty Mac to the outside, giving chase. Hunger Strike in front, holding May wins Mighty Mac. There's no strike, it's a feast. It's a fill-up, Hunger Strike beat May wins Mighty Mac. He's a May win third.
New South Wales had some success in Queensland tonight. The 2024 Australian Pacing Gold Brisbane Sales Graduate 2-year-old final. Very rich race taken out by Hunger Strike for Rickie Alchin. Trains, drives. He's got a share in it as well. So it was a good night with Hunger Strike, and Rickie's joining me to have a chat. Congratulations, Rickie. Well done.
Thanks, Greg.
Hunger Strike, tell me the story about this filly, because she did a lot of trialling before she went to the races with you, and then she headed up to Queensland for a little stint.
Yeah, we set out to go to the Gold Coast sale and particularly try to buy a filly that year because of the small amount of numbers that were in the sale. There's only 34 lots. So we sort of done the sums and thought it would be a good sale to buy out of. I bred to Stay Hungry, and I just really thought that, you know, they were going to do a good job, and at that sale they were only yearlings. That was their first crop. So I actually set out particularly that year to buy Stay Hungry horses, and I bought her and another one called Go Without, who's not a bad little horse as well. So yeah, we've ended up with her. She's I don't really know how to describe her. She's a filly. Like, she's got a bit of attitude and getting going early. She was pretty sturdy, so that's sort of why we gave her a lot of trials and just tucked her in and never burn her out of the mobile or anything like that, just teaching her to settle. And then sent her up to Graham Dwyer early with this race in mind. I just sort of wanted to get her up here early and sort of let her settle and let him race her for a bit to just season her.
I noticed that Harvey Kaplan's in the ownership as well. Have you had horses with Harvey previously?
Yeah, I've had a lot of horses, particularly babies, with Harvey over the years. Ones that we've just got up and sold or things like that. But I've never raced many for him. He's always been, a good client of mine with the babies. But yeah, to win a race like this for Harvey and be in the ownership with him is great.
Mate, barrier one, sometimes not ideal because you got crossed pretty comfortably out of the gate, but you're able to work your way off the inside early.
Yeah, I don't usually draw that well in the big races, and when she had to draw 1 to 3, because it was preferential barrier draw on sex, I thought to myself, I bet this filly will draw 1 because it's the only place I probably don't want her in this race. And as it turned out, she did draw 1, but yeah, look, the rest is history now.
when you got around them. What were you thinking on the turn? I know Chris Barsby had there a chance of an upset on the turn. You didn't seem to be too anxious in the cart. What were you thinking?
There's a lot of action in that race. There was bloody horses going everywhere. But, look, I just wanted to get her around to the death when she got crossed because I did feel she was strong enough to sit outside them and win without being too bullish. It's easy to say that now because she's done it. But that's where I wanted her. I just had to get her there. No, she was never really in doubt, I didn't think.
So what's left for her now? Does she stay in Queensland? Is that the plan?
Yeah, she's Q-bred. So I think the top 4 Q-bred earning fillies get automatic entry into the $150,000 Q-bred race.
Right.
So that'll put her at the top of the list now, so she should get a run in that and she'll stay for it.
All right. Early in the night, you had Forceful and Van Basten both run placings in race 1 and 2. Geez, Van Basten's a consistent pacer.
Yeah, look, he was really good tonight. We just he keeps stepping up a little bit and to run third to those 2 horses, and he was doing his best work on the line. So, yeah, I'm not sure where I'll go with him from here.
The big race of the night was the Rising Sun, and let's have a chat. You drove Lux Aeterna. She failed to finish, and you also had another one go around in the race, Soho Spectre. But let's have a chat about Lux Aeterna. What's the news with her?
Yeah, look, it was quite a disaster, that whole race. She's actually pulled up with a natural fib, which was very disappointing.
Has she pulled up okay after the race?
Oh, look, her heart's still out. In herself, she seems fine. I knew at the win and post the alpha lap to go, something wasn't right. She just dropped the bit. Look, it's concerning, definitely, because for the horse's sake, more so than anyone else's, because she's such a good filly and you don't like seeing these things go wrong with them. So we'll get her home and do some tests on her.
So basically that'll take her out of Queensland now, won't it? Obviously, she's got that 4-week stand down, so we won't see her for a little while.
No, she's done now. Even if she didn't have that stand down, this whole preparation has been a bit checkered. Although going into the race, I was really happy with her, but there's obviously something underlying there that we need to sort out.
And Soho Spectre, he finished down the order as well. Finished 10th. What did you make of him?
I did. Yeah, he was average. I haven't really had time to sit down and absorb it, but he was racing. He won the Derby from 3 fence. Probably going to be a bit of an ask to hold him out. But we gave it a crack, and he was disappointing. So, look, I'll just with him.
So, mate, what other races are you set for while you're up there in Queensland? Obviously, a couple of the big guns didn't fire tonight, but obviously Hunger Strike winning. What other feature races can you target while you're up there?
We got the Trotters Derby on Friday, this coming Friday with Goat.
Yep.
He'll go around in that. Obviously, the big Derby for Soho Spectre, all being well, providing he pulls up fine and there's no issues with him, he'll go around in that. Lux Aeterna's out. Hunger Strike for the Q-bred, and I've got another little 2-year-old Drive Master. He's Q-bred as well.
Just on Goat, good story with him. Jamie Dernberger has had the horse over in America, performed well over there, and then turns up in Australia. And, it's obviously been a good story so far.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. Glenn Holland, he's a major shareholder in that horse. He's really only 2.5. I do like the horse. He's going to make a really nice trotter in the coming years, but I think he just needs to season himself a bit.
When he first arrived here for you, how was he? Was he like what you'd expect a trotter to be, or because he's come from America, was there anything different in him?
No, he actually went to Darren Hancock first, so I haven't had him all that long. But no, he's a lovely horse. He's just very chilled out. He's a colt. You wouldn't know it. Very easy horse to have around.
Well, mate, we look forward to it going around in the Trotters Derby. Congratulations with a Hunger Strike tonight, and we'll follow your progress in Queensland in the coming weeks.
No worries. Thanks, Greg.
They've got 450 metres left to go. Peter Forsberg looks for an all-the-way win. Satellite Simba's at its wheel second. Conor McGregor nowhere to go. Peeling out as Mr. Blue Chip, 28.5 the quarter as they straighten. Peter Forsberg the leader. Down the outside coming home is Kaitoa with a good run. So too Mr. Blue Chip back to the inside. Conor McGregor. Mr. Blue Chip looks for the lead. Here comes Hello IT bursting through the middle as well. Any number of chances. Kaitoa on the outside. Still there Mr. Blue Chip. Mr. Blue Chip and Kaitoa's won it.
Great to see Kaitoa win a race last night at Menangle, and Kristie O'Sullivan, the trainer, her first Saturday night winner. Known Kristie for a number of years, and it was really good to see her win one on a Saturday night. She's joining me to have a chat. Congratulations, Kristie. Well done.
Good on you, Hatey. Thanks very much.
No problems at all. The horse has obviously been a good horse for you over a couple of seasons. What was the thrill like when the horse finally won that race last night?
Oh, yeah, it was pretty great. Bit of relief came with it too. He's been travelling pretty good up there, but we've been racing him up in grade. We thought we were a bit of a chance in that race until the field came out and we were drawn 10. But it seemed to work out for us, and he found the line really strong, so it was a real thrill.
And with 600 metres to go, there wasn't a lot of speed on, and he was at the tail of the field. Dean had to make a decision to get going and put the horse into the race.
Yeah, he made that decision just at the right time. He doesn't always have a huge sprinting in the horse, but Dino did what he had to do last night, and luckily enough, he had enough in the engine to get into the line.
So, what's the Kaitoa story? You guys bred him?
Yeah, so out of the mare that actually Dad and Dean went over to New Zealand at one stage looking for some more horses for Dino. And then they ended up bringing her home for me at the same time, which was pretty good. I raced her for a little bit, and she went all right. No superstar, but she's turned into a really lovely brood mare for me. So we've bred 4 out of her now. So we've got Kaitoa and Tukaha, who's also racing. And then I've got a yearling and a weanling on the ground from her as well.
How did the name come about, Kaitoa? Where's that from?
Yeah, so Kaitoa actually is the Maori word, being a Kiwi mare. He gave him a Maori name. So I had a horse years ago called Polo Warrior, and he was one of my favourites at the time. He took me a long way. He was actually my first Friday night winner at Harold Park, so he was pretty special. And just that word warrior in Maori is what Kaitoa is, or Toa. It means brave man, warrior, that sort of stuff. So that's where that came from. It's been a long journey, but we finally got to use it.
And what about, was there, obviously, you've got a full-time job away from the races. How do you find managing the two and getting time to still work the horses?
Yeah, look, it gets a bit tricky at times, Hazy. I'm pretty lucky. Work can be pretty flexible. I'm a public servant in Canberra, so I can get some flexibility there, but always within reason, of course. I tend to take quite a few Fridays off and head down to Wagga with the team. But other than that, that's why Dino, you might see him sort of taking a horse to, the other week he took one to Bathurst for me, and it might go on a Tuesday to Menangle, just a bit harder for me to get away too frequently. But I get to start late so I can work all the team in the morning and sort of get to work at about 10:30 or 11 o'clock of a day, which makes it a lot easier. And then Rick and Dean help me and feed up for me overnight time, which is really helpful.
So you're working pretty closely with your sister Rickie and your brother-in-law Dean Sinofskas?
Yeah, I've actually I used to train in the town at Canberra, in the training complex there, and a few years ago, just ended up leaving the horses out at Rickie and Dino's. Once I'd been away for about a week, and Dino said, just leave them out here. So I did, and that's when they were at Gunning. They've since moved to Yass, and we're just out here. So yeah, I've got the horses out here with them now, and that works out really well. Like it makes it easy, even though I've got a bit more of a travel to work. Just makes life a lot easier knowing that the horses are where I know I can trust people to help me look after them and stuff, and they've got room in paddocks to move around and stuff, so it's really handy. Now,
Dean had to come home from holidays, did he, to drive the horse on last night?
Yeah. So he and the family just took off on Wednesday afternoon and drove to Queensland, just a little bit of a holiday while the kids are on school break. And he also had one of he's a trainer at the moment for Bernie Hewitt, who was also in a New South Wales bred last night final. So he came home and drove the two of them, and I left him in Sydney last night. He stopped at Harry Martin's, and Harry's putting him back on a plane this morning to go back to Queensland to enjoy the rest of the holiday. But yeah, he came home, so I'm glad it was worth his trip, and I'm very grateful that he did that.
Yeah, very nice that he do that for the stable. How many horses have you got? Have you just got a few?
Yeah, myself, I've got the three in work at the moment. So I've got Kaitoa, Tukaha, his younger brother, and Donnie Mack, who's a 4-year-old as well, but he sort of races around Wagga and that for me. So I've got those three in work. Dino's got a few others. Rickie doesn't have any at the moment. She's got a trotter that she's got to bring back in shortly. But yeah, usually between us, the numbers fluctuate a bit week to week, depending if they're young ones or older horses moving on or what's going on. But yeah, no, I usually just keep it at about 3.
And what about the driving? Are you doing much of that anymore?
Look, a little bit. I tend to drive Donnie Mack a bit because he's not going to Menangle. Kaitoa, I'm not driving on Saturday night, so for a few years their work sort of took over and I wasn't getting out there as much, so my licence got downgraded, unfortunately. But, you know, it's working out pretty good. Dino's driving them really well for me, so I can't complain about that. But, you know, I still get on them, like if they're racing at Wagga or something, I'll be on them. But if they're like in a heat for a race or if they're going to Menangle, then I'm chucking Dino on him so that he can do it. He's got his finger on the pulse with all of that and he's living and breathing it all the time. So I'll let him keep doing that. And
what about Kaitoa? What's the short-term plan for him?
Look, I'll give him probably a couple more starts and stuff. There's a 4-year-old breeders race. I think he's not till maybe October or something, so we can keep racing him for a little bit. He'll probably have a week or so off now just to keep him fresh. He's had a good couple of runs the last few weeks for me. And then after that, we'll probably just keep heading back to Menangle on a Saturday night. He's had a few starts there now, and he's racing pretty nicely in some really nice company. Like he was only a 58er and he's gone in the up to 80s and he was sort of holding his own. So we're pretty happy with what he was doing. So we'll probably just keep following that path, I reckon, Hazy.
Oh, well, congratulations. Good to see you win a race on a Saturday night. Well done.
Good on you, mate. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Time for the Menangle Express. We start with race number 1. The fave was Arden's Ace at $3.70 over the long trip. He showed his customary speed, but Boom came across with him and took the lead, and they went into single file in this order. Boom, Arden's Ace, Porter Prince, Little Bliss, Cassius Deck, Old Luke, Roll Up, Unfazed, the Croupier, and Boots Electric. As they swung into the straight the first time, Roll Up came off the inside and was driven aggressively. Everything behind it came off the pegs, thinking it was going to get caught first over, but Roll Up under the whip was able to roll to the front. Lead time slow at 50.2, and then the first 2 quarters were 29.6 and 29.7. By the time they got to the cages, Roll Up was being urged along. Unfazed was up eyeballing it. The Croupier was struggling to hold its spot in the 1-1, and this allowed Boom to come off the inside and into the 1-1. 27.5 to the turn. Unfazed ran past Roll Up. Arden's Ace ran up behind Unfazed, but Boom wasn't making any room for Arden's Ace, and Unfazed was able to grip on for the win. Tough effort, 27.5 home for a mile rate of 155.1. Arden's Ace squeezed through late for second. Never want to back him when favourite because he needs luck in his races. Boom tried hard up the straight. Porter Prince wound up late once it got clear. It was a good effort off a soft run. Fast last half and it made ground late. Race number 2, the fave here was King Tiger at $3. Again over the 2,300 metres. Speed early from He's Dusty, King Tiger and Craftsman's Charlie. They went forward early, and in the end it was Craftsman's Charlie who rolled to the front over the longer trip. They went single file. So it was Craftsman's Charlie, King Tiger, He's Dusty, Captain Tom Lockheil, the Exorcist, My Ultimate Carter, Colby and Barra Riley. Lead time was 49.4, so 0.8 quicker than the first. Backed it off through the first quarter, 30.9. At the 900, My Ultimate Carter came away from the pegs and started the running line. Colby and Barra Riley jumped into the running line as well. 29.8 second quarter. Colby in the 1-1 was struggling past the cages and started to drop off. So He's Dusty came off the inside and took that spot, which brought Captain Tom 1 horse closer on the pegs. Craftsman's Charlie was bolting around the corner. 28.6, never looked in any danger in the straight. Captain Tom came off the inside, had every chance, but Craftsman's Charlie much too good. Final quarter, 27.1 for a 156 mile. Good win, had been racing really well. Captain Tom was good, tried hard. King Tiger every chance. He's Dusty might have been better sticking to the inside on the turn. Race number 3, the fave was Max Delight at $3.40. Back to the mile here. Speed early from Pete Sedso, who crossed to the lead, but he looked for cover immediately, as he does, which meant JOK pressed forward and found the top. On the pegs, it was JOK, Pete Said So, Star Major, On Deadline, Malcolm's Rhythm, Jillaby Nitro, Missed the Truth, Double Act, which left Max Delight and Where You Been Bopping off the pegs. First quarter 27-4, and then the brakes went on, which forced Star Major off the inside. Jillaby Nitro jumped off and got second over, with Max Delight and Where You Been Bopping following behind them. 29-6 was the money quarter here. Took the back markers out of play. Just after the cages, Max Delight launched 3 wide and was forced 4 wide on the turn when Jillaby Nitro came out. 27-8 to the top of the straight. JOK started to leave the inside, which gave Pete Said So a run up the inside, and it darted through. Malcolm's Rhythm got to the outside, finished off strongly with Max Delight, but it was a very smart drive by Gallagher. 26-6 home for a 151.4 mile rate. Jillaby Nitro under pressure a long way from home, but stuck on okay. Malcolm's Rhythm, good in a race that wasn't run to suit. Race number 4, More Gooder, the fave at 175. Speed early from More Gooder, and she crossed comfortably. Behind her on the pegs, 3 bushel of oats. Muckenbar Diva, Sweet Cocoa, Winona Ryder. Off the pegs, Carmelite, just as well. Dying Art, Heavenly Holly, and Parta Cheval. 27-2 first quarter. More Gooder got keen in the second. 28-9 when Painting would have liked to run a 29-5, even if he could have grabbed something slower. But she got really fierce in the third quarter at the cages. The Death Seat horse was gone. That was Carmelite. Just as well came 3 wide. So did Dying Art. And Parta Cheval went back to the inside to save ground. 27-7 third quarter. More Gooder had a big lead, but was going to get tired. Sweet Cocoa galloped on the turn, which cleared the way for Parta Cheval to come off the pegs. More Gooder was paddling at the 150. Parta Cheval rocketed home to win for Ashtaloza. 29-1 final quarter. They still went 152.9, even when they ran a 29-1 last quarter. Smart drive Ashtaloza on Parta Cheval went back to the inside when everyone else went wide. Winona Ryder, really consistent. More Gooder, just over raced, had been sitting on speed recently and thinks she might be best saved up for one shot at them. Race number 5, favourite here, Mr. Blue Chip at $2.80. Speed early from Peter Fosberg and Satellite Simba in the early stages. I thought Satellite Simba was crossed, but it didn't. Peter Fosberg held up. Behind it on the pegs, Conor McGregor, A Major Star, and Imperial Snapper. Running line was Satellite Simba, Mr. Blue Chip, Hello IT, Stars Rain, and Kaitoa. 27-5 first quarter. They stepped on the brakes 30 seconds for quarter 2. Kaitoa took off 3 wide at the cages to try and put some speed into the race. Sanofskas got pushed 4 wide when Mr. Blue Chip came off and made him 3 wide on the turn. 28-5 third quarter. Peter Fosberg rolled off the inside. Conor McGregor got the run. Kaitoa and Mr. Blue Chip were still there on the outside. Hello IT got a gap through the middle and looked half a chance, but Kaitoa worried Mr. Blue Chip out of it late. Final quarter 28, mile rate 154. Winner deserved it, going first 3 and 4 wide, and got there from Mr. Blue Chip, who had every chance. Hello IT was good once it got clear in the straight. Peter Fosberg fought on late after looking beaten at the top of the run home. Race number 6, the fave was Our Goat at $2. It showed great speed off the gate and crossed comfortably. On the pegs, it was Our Goat, Our Ultimate Luca, Bettine, and Bowling Along. Running line, Humble, A Lot of Lovin', Dolce Drama, Major Allegiance, Got a Lockheed, and Alta William. 27-9 first quarter, then a second quarter of 29-7, so there was no speed on at all. Our Goat was travelling at the cages, whereas Our Ultimate Luca looked to be struggling behind it. Humble dropped in for the trail on the leader on the turn, which exposed A Lot of Lovin'. 27-7 around the side, and Our Goat brained them up the straight. Never out of second gear. 27-8 home for a 153.1 mile. 55-5 last half. Slick. A Lot of Lovin' was brave, tried hard. Humble stuck it out after being caught first over for most of the event. The rest were well beaten. Nice Horse, the winner, formerly with Bernie Hewitt, now with Pete Rickson. Race number 7, favourite here was Sanchez at 175. Speed early from Miss Ravishing, Our Triple Major, and Lock It In Eddie. Lock It In Eddie was able to cross down from wide out. So early on the pegs, it was Lock It In Eddie, Miss Ravishing, Our Triple Major, Looking Good Margie, and Mickey Be Free. Off the pegs, it was Dolly Rocket, Sanchez, Manhattan Chick, and Jungle Dragon. Now, Good Looking Margie came off the inside, and Sanchez took off 3 wide. 27-2 first quarter. It took Sanchez until the half to get up outside the leader as Good Looking Margie got keen when it was caught outside the leader and Sanchez came round it. 30.7 second quarter. There wasn't a lot of respite in the third for the babies. They went 28-5 third quarter. Jungle Dragon still last on the turn. Sanchez hit the front but wanted to hang in. The rest fanned on the turn, which forced Jungle Dragon the widest, but it flew home once it balanced up, and Sanchez had no answer for it late in the straight. It gave Peter Rickson a big double, 28 home for a 154.4 mile. Manhattan Chick was good after racing off the pegs for third. Dolly Rocket kept coming in the straight after being looped in the running line. Race number 8. This was for the Trotters. Fave here was Toro Stride at 190. His job was made a lot easier when Caligula went up in the air in the early stages. Toro Stride showed speed, crossed. On the pegs, it was Toro Stride, Valley Star, She's a Pleasure, Sunny G, Chief Running Cloud, and It's Fergie Time. Running line, Affair to Cover, Victory Hill, One Magic Kenny and Caligula. 29.2 first quarter, so the speed wasn't too quick. Sunny G came off the inside at the 1,000 to go up and race first over. 30.4 second quarter. Victory Hill galloped at the 700, but didn't lose a lot of ground, just position really. Toro Stride and Sunny G took off at the cages. It looked a two-horse race on the turn. 27.3 third quarter. Caligula was forced 3 wide before the turn as the running line stalled and Caligula had to get into the race. Toro Stride got the measure of Sunny G turning, but Caligula worked home really well down the outside. 29.4 up the straight. Good win for Toro Stride. Mile rate of 156.2. Caligula was good to get home for second, and Sunny G, honest as usual, ran another placing. Best win of the night. Oh, has to be our GOAT. Super impressive. Crossed at the start. Never going to lose. Really nice horse. Amanda just had a sit and steer job in that race. So best win of the night for mine, our GOAT. Best beaten performance. I'm going to go with Caligula. Now, he did things wrong, so he's only got himself to blame. But, gee, he made up some ground in the final 400 metres. Obviously very talented and can run a much quicker mile than the 156.2, which was the winning time by Toro Stride. Best drive of the night. Ash DeLoza on Par de Cheval made the decision to go to the inside, and that was the winning move. Got some luck when Sweet Coco galloped it. It was a 10 out of 10 drive, and she continues on her winning way, does Ash. Drive of the night for me, Ash DeLoza.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winning. Hey, that's pretty good.
Winner!
That was legitness.
That I say, all right. Wow, winning.
Bam! Just like that. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. A winner! Just like that.
And the winner is...
Well, I was the winner last week with Cobalt Stride saluting, but it only paid $1.60. So Mr. T minus $34 in our tipping challenge, and I'm minus 18. So a nice lead. Mr. T likes one at Menangle, race 3, number 1, Bell River Girl for David Waite and Cam Hart. Very consistent, doesn't win out of turn. Last win was at Penrith, 4 runs back, but from the good draw, Mr. T is tipping Bell River Girl to win. I might go against him in that race in a minute. His second one is in race 4 at Young on Tuesday night. Number 1, Riverina Flash, placed at 4 of its last 5 starts. Olivia Frisbee takes the drive and from the good draw should be prominent. So in the 4th at Young, number 1, Riverina Flash. And Mr. T not happy that Bathurst extended again. Got that message from him on Friday. I like 2 this week, both out of recent trials at Menangle. So Tuesday, race 3, number 3, Kalara Kamikaze up against Bell River Girl. First starter for Kerry-Ann Morris and Josh Gallagher. Most recent trial at 1, and although it didn't run time, it looked like it had a bit left to offer in the straight. Will Rickson drove it, and he was just shaking the reins at the horse, and it got away from its rivals. So I'm expecting a good effort on debut in a race that doesn't have a lot of form. Race 3, number 3, Kalara Kamikaze. And race 5, number 2, Debonair for Blake Fitzpatrick and daughter Zara. I'm chasing Zara for the show, so maybe if this wins, I'll get her on next week after the stunning start to her driving career. Debonair trialled well behind Maria Alagonda, never left the helmet of the horse it was following, and the time was really strong. It's drawn well. Its last 2 wins came when Debonair was able to get the lead, so I'm expecting a big performance first up from Debonair. That's race 5, number 2. That just about wraps up the podcast. Thanks to Rickie, thanks to Kristie for joining me this week. I look forward to catching up with you again next week on the Sunday session. Bye for now.